Hey, what's up, Internet? Guess who? It's Justin Bieber, and I've taken over Fun Hair Dye. It's mine, I bought it. And now it's Bieber or die. Anything that's not Bieber, dies. I once ran into a club. They said, sir, you're not old enough. So I bought the club, and I made it a Chuck E. Cheese. Now it was old enough.
Hello class, yes, the bangs are back. And also I'm back. Hi, how are you? Today, as I'm sure you can tell from the title, I wanted to talk about Justin Bieber.
Because Selena Gomez said that she wants to cut your hair.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that, but
What do you think of that?
sounds like something she'd say. I like that laugh.
Now, I'll be honest, I bought Justin Bieber's memoir that he wrote over a year ago at this point, because I thought I was going to be making this video way sooner than I did. I actually had this memoir sitting on our dresser for like a month until Dan asked me to put it somewhere else because making eye contact with baby Justin every morning was making him uncomfortable. No idea what he's talking about. I find it comforting that the Biebs has been watching over us. It's like our Canadian guardian angel. Anyways, point being, I thought I was going to make this video over a year ago. But then anytime I would start to research or write this video, I would almost immediately get so overwhelmed by just the vastness of JB's career. Justin's career was such an enigma that I don't think can ever be recreated. In a way, he was the last bit of monoculture, adored by teenage girls everywhere. But he was also the first wave of the internet celebrity turned mainstream celebrity. Both Justin Bieber and his fan base are so online, so every aspect of his life up until this point has been meticulously documented. Did you know that in 2020, Justin lost his pet cat Sushi for 3 weeks until one of his neighbors found and rescued him? And also, did you know that that neighbor was Sandra Lee?
2 shots of vodka.
I have just had to accept at this point that I cannot cover everything because this man has truly lived 1,000 lives at this point, and most of those lives he wasn't even an adult for. So without further ado, let's talk about the life and career of Justin Bieber. Justin was born on March 1st, 1994, which would make him...
What's your sign? What's your sign? I'm a Pisces. I'm a Pisces. Please don't spite me.
I hate how much of an earworm that song is. I've been singing it all week.
What's your sign? What's your sign?
I'm a Pisces. That song, I'll say it, is the most Pisces man thing I've ever heard, but I can't already be getting sidetracked. Justin's parents were both very young when they had him. I actually read Justin's mom's memoir she published pretty early in Justin's fame, and I'm actually really glad that I did, because it gave me a lot of perspective that I feel like a lot of other articles on him didn't have. Justin's mom, Patty, was only 19 years old when she had Justin. Both her and Jeremy, Justin's father, dealt with substance issues, mental health issues, and they were in a very on-again, off-again relationship. And that's not surprising given they were teenagers and clearly going through a lot. Patty was Justin's primary caregiver. His parents were not together once he was born. And I've seen a lot of people say that Justin's dad, Jeremy, wasn't in Justin's life at all until Justin became famous. But according to both Patty and Justin, that's not true. According to Patty, when Justin was a baby, Patty did at one point have to put her foot down with Jeremy that he needed to be more consistent in Justin's life if they wanted to co-parent successfully. But Justin has said that since he was around 4, he grew up seeing his dad on weekends, and even though they didn't always have the best relationship, they did have a relationship before he got famous. Justin was, from what I could tell, a pretty normal Canadian kid. He played hockey. And just think one day that little boy would meet the then Canadian Prime Minister in a look that can truly only be described as like swaggy train conductor. But before we continued, I wanted to take a brief moment to talk about today's sponsor, Midas Merge. Midas Merge is a super cute match and merge game where you get coins, plants, fruit, and yes, a small army of little creatures I care for. Basically, you're teaming up with King Midas and Queen Leah to revive this Garden of Gold, which is currently under the shadow of Nyx, the goddess of night. You hate to see it, really. As you play the game, you get to unravel the mystery of Nyx, restore the garden, and free these creatures. Free them. Are y'all seeing my kingdom of creatures right now? It's mine. I own it. Midas Merge is completely free to download and works perfectly offline, allowing you to hang out with these precious animals anytime, anywhere, no Wi-Fi needed. Plus, you can enjoy an ad-free experience, no ads randomly popping up while you're in the middle of merging things, and absolutely no dead ends, no sitting and waiting, so you really can enjoy playing on your schedule. And this is the perfect time to get into Midas Merge. With the new year approaching, maybe you just started holiday break, you can start the new year on a high note with just an army of creatures. Doesn't that sound fun? Be among the first 100 people to download this game either from my link or the QR code right here and receive a unique MoxFox level 1. Do you see this guy? Not only will he boost your garden's progress, he will also have my name. So do not miss out. Download Midas Merge and start your garden today. Not surprisingly, Justin was also really into music from an early age. Even though his mom couldn't afford to give him formal lessons, over time her and his grandparents would chip in to get him a drum set, a keyboard, a guitar, and he just slowly learned to play through the adults around him. When Justin was around 8 or 9, he somehow convinced his mom to let him start street performing, and eventually it became a thing that they did every weekend. And actually, because he was, a cute, talented kid, he would get a lot more money than other adults who were performing around him, to the point where a lot of the other adult street performers hated him. Imagine having beef with a child who has a bowl cut. That's when we need to do some reflecting, I think. Some internal work. One guy hated Justin so much that he stole the money Justin had made that day and ran 2 blocks before 2 other guys were like, hey, maybe don't steal from a baby, no matter how easy and fun it may be. But Justin made so much money one summer that he was able to pay for him and his mom to go to Disney World for a week. I don't know how legal any of this was, to be quite honest, but young Jay Biebs was on that grind set. When he was 12, Justin competed in Stratford Star, which was basically like American Idol for teens in his hometown. What you want? Baby, I got it. Even though he was the only 12-year-old there, he made it all the way to the finale, and just look how tiny he is next to the other 2 girls. Like, he's so small. Justin ended up coming in second. And personally, if I beat Justin Bieber at a singing competition when he was a child, I would never be quiet about that. That is like the ultimate 2 truths and a lie factoid. Even though Justin didn't end up winning, this was the start of his YouTube career. Justin's grandma wasn't able to see the performance in person, so Patty made Justin's first YouTube video on the channel Kid Raul. So in a delusional kind of way, Justin Bieber is kind of a colleague of mine. Of course, even though this channel was just meant for his family to see it, inevitably he started to absolutely blow up. He got over 100,000 subscribers within the first year of posting, which for early YouTube is huge. He was at one point the most subscribed to musician in Canada, according to Patty. And this is also important to me, when stalker Sarah first discovered Justin, because we all know that Miss Stalker Sarah is always the first on the scene of pop culture history. You can't beat her. But that's also a part of what would later make Justin's mainstream debut so huge. Before most people knew who he was, before Usher or Scooter knew who he was, there was already a loyal audience of teenage girls who had watched him from the beginning. And he was their boy first and foremost. But soon enough, he was discovered by Scooter Braun. And Scooter has told different versions of how he found Justin over the years. In some versions, he just happened to stumble across this 14-year-old boy singing covers after a late night out with friends. In other versions, he was intentionally seeking out a young person to make into a child star. Ultimately, once he found Justin, that did become his goal, which is enough to make me side-eye him already.
Atlanta is Hip Hop Central. That's where Usher's co-producer Scooter Braun lives, and where he first discovered Justin. 3 years ago, he was looking for new talent on the internet when he accidentally came across Justin singing on YouTube. It was a life-changing moment for both Justin and Scooter.
I was a huge Michael Jackson fan, and I wanted to find a kid who could do songs like Michael did when he was a kid.
And I also just think you should be skeptical of anyone who goes by the name Scooter professionally, but that's besides the point. Scooter emailed Justin's YouTube account asking if Patty would be interested in discussing a record deal for Justin, and Patty ignored it because this music exec used a Gmail account. But that did not stop Scooter. Scooter reached out to every person with the last name Bieber he could find in the Stratford area. And when that didn't work, he called the school boards and narrowed it down to 3 possible schools that Justin went to. According to Patty, that's actually how his school found out that Justin even made YouTube videos. And one of the admins actually put one of Justin's videos on the morning announcements, which, again, back in 2008, having a successful YouTube channel was embarrassing. You kept that secret deeply repressed. But somehow, this actually worked, and Scooter was able to get Patty's personal cell phone number and call her directly. Scooter offered to fly Patty and Justin out to Atlanta to record some demos and discuss a deal all on Scooter's dime. And once Patty realized that Scooter was not in fact an elaborate scammer, she was still hesitant to say yes because he was Jewish? Yes, according to an interview Patty did with the New York Times, she initially prayed, "God, I gave him to you. You could send me a Christian man, a Christian label. And God, you don't want this Jewish kid to be Justin's man, do you?" But eventually her church leaders told her that it was okay, that Scooter was Jewish, and that God wanted them to work with him. So they flew out to Atlanta, and even though he eventually signed to work with Usher as well, apparently he almost signed with Justin Timberlake at one point.
He was being courted by the different music labels, and I don't know if you know of Justin Timberlake and Usher were actually fighting over who could sign him, and so we just signed with the music label, and we're moving in about a week to the US. So it's a big step, and he's got a long journey and great plans.
Congratulations.
Now that I think about it, Justin Bieber really was just like a smaller version of Justin Timberlake, name and all. But this process to get Justin an actual record deal took over 6 months because a lot of record companies were like, "What are you doing here? You should have this kid on the Disney Channel. He should be passing the plate with Brenda Song right now. We're not gonna sign him." And even though Justin had a very sizable presence from his YouTube and Twitter following, the internet was not a real thing to business executives. Back then, Al Gore's internet was for cat videos and email chains that, if you didn't forward to 10 of your friends immediately, Voldemort would marry your mom. Justin's proven ability to cultivate a fan base completely organically was not initially seen as the selling point that it was.
Be singing an original tune entitled "Common Denominator." Here's Justin Bieber.
I'm not 5 years old. Yo, they started a bit too early. Can you start it over, please? Fills the air, and I fall in love with you.
But eventually they were able to secure a deal with Island Records. And from that moment on, Justin's promotion cycle would be absolutely relentless. Justin's first EP, My World, was the corporate bubblegum pop record I craved at the time. That little shuffle choreography Justin did when he performed One Time changed malls across America. One Less Lonely Girl? You know, as a lonely girl myself, it spoke to something deep in my soul. However, the most iconic part of this Justin Bieber era to me were all of the J14 photo shoots he did. One of my favorite ways to communicate is just sending random pictures of Justin Bieber to my friends and family. There's truly a picture for every scenario. Want to break the ice to ask someone out? Want to ask someone if they want to play Animal Crossing New Leaf on their Nintendo 3DS? Want to send a heartfelt reaction to your mom after she texts you that your family pet died? All of the options exist for you. Also, something I completely forgot was just how big Ellen was in the rollout of Justin Bieber.
So I know for a fact a lot of you out there are fans of this guy because you've emailed me, you've Twittered me, you've said please have him on the show. And if you don't know him, you're about to see somebody right now that you're going to go, I saw him, because he's going to be huge. Justin Bieber is here. Bieber. I
mean, back in the day, Ellen really did used to be the pipeline of internet culture to mainstream culture. If you posted a video on YouTube, I don't know, like launching your baby into space, you were getting on the Ellen show, and you were probably getting like a very oversized gift card to Macy's or something. Justin at this point was a YouTube secret that the Gen X women of America needed to hear. It's actually kind of crazy just how close Justin's brand was to Ellen's at one point. The compilation of all of his appearances on her show over the years is over 3 hours long. That's longer than Wicked Part 1. Of course, I didn't discover him from Ellen. I learned who he was because he guest starred on True Jackson VP.
Justin Bieber never misses a show. Tell my fans I'll be there any second. Uh-oh. Uh-oh what?
Honestly, what would I have done without Keke Palmer in my youth? Probably would have committed vehicular manslaughter or something. But his true mainstream breakout was his first full album, My World 2.0. This album debuted at #1, and he is still to this day the youngest male pop star to ever achieve that. Young girls couldn't get enough of his swoopy hair, his purple hoodies, his comically oversized shoes. But we didn't just love him, we had Bieber fever.
Mad About a Boy. A Canadian heartthrob seducing teenage girls around the world.
I can't help it. I'm obsessed. I love him. He's so cute. I mean, I don't want him that way, but he's just so cute.
He's really hot. He's adorable.
From heartthrob to heartbreak. When hype becomes hyperventilation, it's Bieber pitch.
It really was the Beatlemania of our generation, and other than One Direction, I don't know if we've seen that level of fandom for a teenage boy since that time. There were multiple times where events had to be shut down because girls were having panic attacks, getting trampled. They had to see the Biebs. And we all know at this point that anything teenage girls like, adult men must hate in equal, if not stronger measure.
Here in this third period. Here the half cheers, half boos here at the Garden because they just put up Justin Bieber on the big screen there. You see, of course, say, why would you boo the kid?
The boos are from the guys and the cheers are from the girls.
There really were, again, mostly men out there who could not stand that young girls liked a short, sweet, talented boy. And because of that, there were constant jokes that would insinuate Justin was gay, that he was a girl himself, that he just wasn't masculine enough or undeserving of his fame because of that. Because, you know, anything that appeals to girls is inherently feminine, which is also inherently bad. It also didn't help that Justin guest starred on CSI, and his character just got absolutely pummeled with bullets. The comments on the clip of this are actually so jobless it's crazy. You're happy that this child just got fictionally blown up to smithereens? Please, go on a walk. Get really into indoor rock climbing. Anything is better than this. But you know what? The jealousy of it all, that girls wanted Justin Bieber over them, was not even subtle. Tell me why every boy in my middle school actively hated Justin Bieber with a fiery passion, yet they all had the exact same haircut as him? Riddle me that. Even outside of the anti-Bieber fever, a lot of mainstream news didn't portray him positively either. A lot of people saw Justin as a cynical cash grab pushed on pop culture by record executives that would be instantly replaced and forgotten once Justin hit puberty. And journalists were not afraid to tell him they thought that to his face.
Well, at some point, there's only so much marketing and PR you can do. Ultimately, he's going to have to stand on his own talent, if he truly is talented. Critics will say that you are basically a product of marketing.
Okay.
That when it comes down to it, it's all the YouTube hype, it's all the attention you get online.
Okay.
Do you see yourself as a product of marketing hype?
I think that everything happened organically. It wasn't something that the record label was pushing. It was basically happened because my fans liked me. And I think that coming from Stratford, Ontario, and just like, it basically gave others like hope because I come from basically somewhere that nothing really comes from there, like nothing, like nobody's ever came out of Stratford, Ontario and been famous or...
Wait, Lloyd Robertson has come out of Stratford, Ontario and been famous. He anchors the national news on CTV.
I'm just saying there hasn't been somebody to come out and be known worldwide.
Okay.
Do you agree on that point?
Well, you know, it's hard to say.
And in a way, these people are right. Justin's early music was absolutely designed in a lab made to capitalize on the spending power of young girls. But at the same time, every next Justin Bieber, Austin Mahone, Cody Simpson, Grayson Chant, No one could match the star power or longevity that Justin had. Like it or not, there was something special about Justin that appealed to so many people at this time. And maybe part of it was just how divisive his image was. Baby, his first single from this era, was for a long time the most disliked video on YouTube ever. But it was also at one point the most viewed video on YouTube ever. People, no matter how they felt about him, could not look away. And I like to think it was because everyone secretly knew that Baby was a hit. Like, let's just be so honest about that fact. When I saw all of this happening, Justin was older than me. He was 15, practically a grown-up in my eyes. But watching it now, oh my god, that's a baby. Baby. Sorry. No, because I cannot imagine what being the most Googled pop star in the world, the internet's collective boyfriend, wildly hated, hypersexualized by many adults, all at 15, does to your psyche. I genuinely don't know how we expected him to be even a remotely normal person as an adult. I've watched so many interviews with Justin from this time, and he is tiny. But for some reason, almost all of the adults interviewing him either treated him like he was an adult himself, or just straight up like he was a toy that they could manhandle however they wanted.
First of all, you're only 15, right?
Yep.
So what is this girl situation? Have you, been in love? Have you kissed girls? How do you sing about girls? Have you had a lot of girlfriends? Have you had your first kiss yet?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it with us?
I don't care, sure.
Okay, go ahead. Go for it. What was it like?
You guys never gave me the sex talk.
Okay.
So why don't you give me the sex talk?
I feel uncomfortable right now. Oh. Why do you want to know the sex talk from a 15-year-old boy? That's pretty weird.
And it wasn't just this early era. This treatment went on for years.
So, I got Believe.
Hey, this is a brand new.
Can I say this? Lean into me again. You smell amazing. How old are you?
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 16. I'll be 17 in 2 weeks.
I don't ever remember smelling that good at 16. That was bad.
Yeah.
Wow, look at your eyes. Thank you so much. Look at him. What a beautiful face. All right, now it's time to find out who's nominated for International Breakthrough. Vote, just do it. Don't mess around. Don't tease me, Bieber.
Would you rather have to be naked on stage during one full song, or drink a cup of blended worms? Answer, Justin Bieber.
I have little girl fans. I can't go.
Okay, imagine that. Imagine that wasn't a problem. Imagine there was no laws. Imagine it wasn't weird like that.
Wow. I feel violated right now.
Not to mention, throughout all of this, he is working. He is on a constant cycle of promo appearances.
You don't want to cancel on anybody.
I don't.
I know, but this is where we are. We have to do this. Otherwise, you could, if I let you say, hey, Justin, it's your choice, we can do Syracuse tomorrow, you'll say yes, because you want to do every show.
No.
But then you'll destroy your vocal cords, and we can't risk that.
I would not let you do that. I already have stepped in, but I would not let you do that.
There's going to be a lot of kids that are going to be let down.
I'm feeling all right. Probably a 4 out of 10. Aww.
He'll sometimes get a little whiny about having a normal life, and I said, you know what? You gave up normal. This is your new normal.
There's this one story he tells from these early days where he went back to Toronto to see his friends, and he was supposed to fly back the next day to perform at the Today Show. But because he was 15 and exhausted, he didn't want to go. So him and his friends made a plan to hide his passport and pretend he lost it. The record label, of course, freaked out, and eventually he felt so guilty that he confessed that he had hid it. So he performed the Today Show the next day, like he was supposed to. It really does break my heart that his parents, Scooter, his management team, didn't seem to give him any time to just be a normal kid during this at all. But we didn't even have time to process that because Justin released his first concert documentary in 3D, might I add, Never Say Never, which to this day is still one of the most successful concert movies of all time. And you want to know who directed this movie? John Chu. I love how my channel has just accidentally covered the entire arc of John Chu's career. And just like that, we're on to another era because on November 1st of 2011, he released his Christmas album Under the Mistletoe. Honestly, There is no reason for this album to be as solid as it is. I'll be honest, I am not a fan of Christmas music as a genre. I know, I'm such a woman from a small town who has a big job in New York City coded, but for what it is, Mistletoe is a solid original pop Christmas song. And I didn't know I needed a rap breakdown of Drummer Boy until I got it, frankly. But this album rollout was not exactly a jolly time for Beliepers, because this is also when the baby story broke. On October 31st of 2011, a 20-year-old woman named Mariah claimed that the then 17-year-old Justin was the father of her 3-month-old son, and she filed suit demanding Justin take a paternity test and pay $15,000 a month in child support. This story went absolutely everywhere because the affidavit this woman filed describing her interactions with Justin sounded straight out of a Wattpad fanfiction. According to Mariah, she attended the Never Say Never concert at the Staples Center and was pulled out of the crowd after the show along with several other women. The affidavit then described in extreme detail her alleged sexual encounter with Justin, who would have been 16 at the time while she would have been 19. So very much below the age of consent, if true, and the salaciousness of it all was absolute fodder for every tabloid, morning show, and of course, Wendy Williams.
He took her in a bathroom backstage at the Staples Center where they allegedly had sex with no condom. Well, according to the article in the Star, she asked him about a condom and he said, "No, this is my first time and I want to feel everything."
Mariah also gave multiple interviews, although none of them appeared to help her credibility.
Could any of those other girls that were in that room substantiate this story? I know it's tough, but it is.
Yeah.
I know it's tough,
it
but
is.
could one of those girls substantiate this story? Could one of those
Give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Justin immediately denied any connection to this woman, tweeting, #Under the Mistletoe is the #1 album on the Billboard 200 this week. We are the #1 album. So to the people making up this BS, Santa Claus is coming to town, bitches. #I love my fans. Thank you. Here is the new video as promised. They can't break us. Justin's team also stated that not only were they going to submit the DNA for the paternity test, but they were also considering countersuing her for defamation. Mariah ended up dropping the suit and changing legal representation, stating it was because of death threats she had been receiving from Beliepers, which, don't get me wrong, she very much was getting those. But also the next day, TMZ released text messages between Mariah and her friend begging them to delete texts suggesting someone else named Robbie was the real father and that she'd pay them once she got her own payout if they promised to keep quiet about this. Despite the suit being dropped, Justin still went ahead and took the paternity test, but supposedly Mariah's legal team never reached out to actually compare the sample. A few days after that, Robbie himself came forward and claimed Mariah completely made up the story so that she could sell it to a tabloid for $50,000 because at the time, Mariah was homeless and Robbie was incarcerated, so she felt she had no means to support her child. I mean, this whole story is awful. Mariah seemed like a very troubled person in a desperate situation, not that that's an excuse for what she did. And the absolute circus around Justin's supposed sex life, despite him still being a child himself, it's horrible. But if there's one silver lining, it did give us, I think, one of Justin Bieber's greatest songs ever written. And Justin was not shy about who this song was about.
Maria.
Yeah.
What's that song about?
Well, it's inspired by basically Mariah Yeater, who claimed that she had my baby, but, which is completely false. You have to listen to the song. It's cool. I mean, it basically explains my side of the story. How I felt in the situation and stuff like that.
Tell me about that experience. What was that like from the inside for you when she started making these claims? As you said, completely disproven.
I mean, at first, I didn't really even pay attention to it. I was like, oh, this is crazy. This will blow over. And then it made headline news, and I was like, why are they even picking this up? It's ridiculous. Like, why? And it's crazy that if someone says something, people are quick to believe it. I didn't even think anyone would believe it, but.
And who could forget this tweet? Dear Mariah, we have never met, so from the heart, I just wanted to say,
you will never get this, you will never get this, la 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 la. Here behind this cage, crazy, crazy, everybody laughs. You go, you never get this. But one time, he break a cage and he get this. And then we'll laugh. High five.
Maria also came out of what I think, dare I say, was Justin's best era. Believe. He had a brand new haircut, a forehead reveal. It was a big deal. And his first single from this era was Boyfriend, the most Where My Hug At song I've ever heard. And it was originally a Mike Posner song, so I guess that actually tracks. Swag, swag, swag on you. Chilling by the fire while we eatin' fondue. Robert Frost wishes he had this level of poetic genius. We also got one of my favorite Nicki Minaj pop features. Nicki Minaj really had a gift when it came to taking mid-pop songs and elevating them to icon status just with her features. It needs to be studied. Justin also came out with his second concert documentary for the Believe tour, once again directed by John Chu. Only this time, John was also the creative director for the entire tour. So if you're wondering why Justin begins the show flying in with wings made out of every instrument Justin can play, that is all John. Just the splash of musical theater energy we all needed. And in this documentary, John asks, hey, Justin, a lot of people are wondering if you're gonna become a troubled child star now that you're a little bit older. And Justin says, what? No way. The Bizzle Era. In 2013, Justin began calling himself Bizzle, and then just invoked pure chaos for 2 years straight. But that wasn't Justin, guys. That was Bizzle. It reminds me of one time I called my vet to make an appointment for Goose, and they were like, I'm sorry, we don't have your dog in our system. How do you spell his name again? And I spelled his name, and the lady went, oh, you said Goose. I thought you said his name was Poos. Now, why would you think that? So anytime Goose gets into the trash or barks at 3 a.m., that wasn't Goose. That was Poos. And to be quite honest, I have never seen Poos and Bizzle in the same room. In my opinion, the Bizzle era first started after photos came out showing Justin smoking marijuana. This started the hashtag cutting for Bieber, which, yes, does mean what you think it means. However, what I did not know at the time when this was going viral was that this hashtag started as a 4chan joke making fun of Beliebers, and fortunately it seems like the overwhelming majority of these posts were just rage bait, not actual Beliebers self-harming. But a lot of young teenage girls for sure heard about this and saw these pictures on their timelines. I know I did. And honestly, it being a sick joke to trick teenage girls into self-harming isn't really better than the trend actually coming from Beliebers. The psychological damage was there. Then in March of 2013, Justin fought with paparazzi, and I'll just say it, that guy had it coming.
Watch out, give us some space, guys. We gotta
That's assault. That's assault.
You're in our way. You did it. We had to walk move out the way, man. What was that? Move out the way. You gotta move out the way.
Fucking little. Go back to America.
What'd you say?
You heard what I said, man.
What'd you say?
You heard what I said. Lose your fucking belt. Lose your fucking belt. Lose your fucking belt. I'm back, you prick. I'm back, you prick. Back. All right? That's all. Fucking little. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I know that's the whole point. They scream obscenities at you to try and get a reaction so you look crazy for reacting. But at the time, everyone just ate that up uncritically, like, OMG, look at Justin getting mad at a man who was yelling at him for no reason. Yeah, wouldn't you? But unfortunately, the outfit Justin was wearing at the time, combined with him just being a short king and his security literally lifting him back into the car, Justin did not look as threatening as I think he wanted to at the time. And this was after Justin collapsed during a concert and wore a gas mask to dinner. The guy was having a rough week. Also in March, while on the Believe tour in Germany, Justin was stopped at customs because the baby monkey, Molly, he got for his birthday that he had brought with him, did not have the proper paperwork to enter the country. The German government kept Molly in quarantine while Justin performed and told his team that they could have Molly back as soon as they got the paperwork showing that they could legally bring him into the country. But then Justin left. He tweeted Munich was a good time and loud. The bus is headed to Vienna now. You coming? And his fans were like, Justin, I think you're forgetting something? Also, some believers took the time to compare the German government to a certain other moment in German history. Once Justin kept on with his tour, the German government sent Molly to an animal sanctuary. The sanctuary said that at just 14 weeks old, Molly was way too young to have been separated from his mother, and he already had socialization issues with other monkeys because of this. Eventually, Molly was placed at a zoo in Copenhagen and seems to be doing much better now. And in 2015, 2 years after abandoning his first monkey, Justin said he'd consider getting a second monkey because monkeys are awesome. To which the North American Primate Sanctuary Alliance responded, "Please do not repeat this foolish endeavor." Then in April of 2013, after Justin toured the Anne Frank house, Justin signed the guest book saying, "Truly inspiring to be able to come here. Anne was a great girl. Hopefully she would have been a believer." You know, I have no words. AI could truly never recreate this. And what's crazier is this happened and then The Fault in Our Stars had Ansel Elgort and Shailene Woodley make out in the Anne Frank house like a year later. Like, what was in the water? What were we all doing? Now, even though plenty of people have pointed out how egotistical that sounded, both the museum and Anne Frank's stepsister kind of came to his defense. One source said that the tour guides had told Justin earlier that Anne Frank was very into pop culture and, you know, she was a young teenage girl at the time, his core demographic, so that was where he was coming from. It wasn't like a thought out of nowhere. The museum spokesperson said his comments were quite innocent. He was here for more than an hour and interested in Anne Frank's life. And that for us is the most important thing. And Anne Frank's stepsister said, yeah, she probably would have been a fan. Why not? He's a young man and she was a young girl. And she liked film stars and music. They make a lot of fuss about everything that is connected with Anne Frank. So there you have it. Justin was so exhausted from the scandal, he needed his security team to carry him up the Great Wall of China. I am convinced that this picture is what gave Perez Hilton the idea to start the rumor that Ariana Grande needed to be carried everywhere. After that, Bizzle got caught peeing in a cleaning bucket before loudly yelling, "Fuck Bill Clinton."
You're not gonna remember him pissing in the restroom. Like, everybody does that.
Yeah. What are we though, bro? What are we? We the wild kids, y'all.
Wild kids.
Wild kids in this.
But don't worry, he did personally apologize to Bill when they had a phone call a few days later, saying, "At Bill Clinton, thanks for taking the time to talk, Mr. President. Your words mean a lot. Hashtag great guy." Also around this time, TMZ began leaking videos which appear to be from 2010, where Justin was seen on camera multiple times saying racist jokes and using the N-word multiple times. Once these videos were out, he gave a statement saying, among other things, "I'm very sorry. I take my friendships with people of all cultures very seriously, and I apologize for offending or hurting anyone with my childish and inexcusable mistake. I was a kid then, and I'm a man now who knows my responsibility to the world and to not make that mistake again." He also gave a second apology for this in 2021 after he promoted Morgan Wallen's new music, right around the time that Morgan Wallen had been saying a bunch of racist stuff. And he said, "When I was a kid, I was incredibly ignorant and said some very hurtful racist jokes that were clearly not funny. I hurt a lot of people, especially the black people in my life, but was fortunate enough to have had them educate me on the horrifying origin of the N-word. This brings those painful memories back up, and I will always take ownership for my ignorance and my past because I know I am not that person. I know that I have apologized for this before, but knowing this is such a sensitive issue, I believe it's important to bring this up to hopefully educate people who may be ignorant to the topic of racism and how hurtful it is." Then there were some brothels, some racially charged graffiti, and the Journals era. Journals was Justin's digital-only R&B album that his label really did not want to push, probably because it wasn't pop music, and Justin really was in the pop culture doghouse at this time. But Justin, for 10 weeks, released 10 different singles before quietly releasing the album for streaming on December 9th of 2013. And honestly, it really is too bad that this album got overshadowed by his real life shenanigans because a lot of these songs are hits. I mean, as long as you ignore the R. Kelly collab halfway through, it's pretty good. But on Christmas Eve, Justin tweeted, "My beloved Beliebers, I am officially retiring. The media talks a lot about me. They make up a lot of lies and want me to fail, but I'm never leaving you. Being a Belieber is a lifestyle." The absolute whiplash that Bizzle was giving the Beliebers at this time. But then, after egging his neighbor's house and somehow causing $20,000 in property damage, it happened. Justin Bieber was arrested for drunk driving and drag racing in Florida. 2014 had barely started, but I still think that this is the 2014 pop culture moment. The Beliebers were in full mourning. This was absolutely going to ruin the tour. My favorite tweet from this time is this one. "Why does he look happier to be in jail than he was standing next to me?" This also led to a lengthy legal battle because the media wanted access to the video footage of Justin giving a urine sample to be made public, because under Florida law, any evidence handed over to the defense must also be made public. Despite Justin's legal team's arguments that this was a needless privacy violation simply for the sake of embarrassing Justin further, the media ultimately prevailed and they were given access to a slightly redacted version that only censored when Justin was undressed. This also led to a whitehouse.gov petition to deport Justin Bieber, which got the second highest number of signatures in the site's history, with over 250,000 signatures, meaning the White House had to officially respond. "Thank you for your petition and your participation in We the People. Sorry to disappoint, but we won't be commenting on this one. Independent economists say immigration reform will grow our economy and shrink our deficits by almost $1 trillion in the next 20 years. For those of you counting at home, that's 12.5 billion concert tickets, or 100 billion copies of Mr. Bieber's debut album. So we'll leave it to others to comment on Mr. Bieber's case, but we're glad you care about immigration issues." Even Beyoncé weighed in on this situation. She put his mugshot up on the screen at her concert as Jay-Z performed and reportedly said, "Even the greatest can fall." Probably especially devastating to Justin, because Justin was not shy about being a very big fan of Beyoncé, let's just say.
Coolest person that you've met so far? On tour, traveling around?
Beyonce.
Yeah.
So I have the biggest crush on Beyonce.
My dream collaboration would be with Beyonce.
With Beyonce. She's great.
Wow.
Very hot.
I heard you had a crush on Beyonce. There's a little thing called Jay's.
Beyonce's Beyonce.
She has a beautiful voice and she's beautiful and she's hot and sexy.
I would love to have Beyonce's lipstick on my cheek.
I saw that. Alright, so this next video is Beyonce. It's called Sweet Dreams. And yes, she's in my sweet dreams, and I just want to say have some sweet dreams tonight, Beyonce. I
mean, how Justin managed to save his career after being scolded by Beyonce? Truly a miracle. And that wasn't even the end of it. He was arrested for allegedly assaulting a photographer. He was sued for allegedly sending his bodyguards to attack a different photographer. And somehow we have all the deposition footage from that.
Guess what? I don't recall.
Orlando Bloom punched him in the face while Leonardo DiCaprio cheered. Justin was hated by everyone. Celebrities, the media, fans, and at this point it really did feel like we were watching the end of his career. And Justin wasn't even 21 yet. So by this point in 2014, Justin was at a pretty low point in his life. He was often heavily inebriated, to the point where he said his security had to check on him every hour just to see if he still had a pulse. His record label wasn't promoting his music. He was actively booed by other celebrities when he attended events. And it was at this point that he met Carl Lentz, who was a pastor at a now pretty infamous megachurch called Hillsong. According to Justin, one night he was so desperate to get out of this downward spiral he was on that he begged Lentz to baptize him immediately. The only issue was it was 3 a.m. at the time. So they ended up baptizing Justin at NBA player Tyson Chandler's house in his bathroom. Now, Hillsong was already controversial long before Justin entered the picture. Fundy Fridays, of course, has a much more in-depth video on the church's history, but in short, it was originally founded in Australia before expanding to multiple other locations, including New York City and Los Angeles. In the early days of Hillsong, the church got in trouble for, you guessed it, covering up sexual abuse allegations against one of their founders. The church also was rumored to practice conversion therapy for LGBTQ congregates, but as the church got more popular, the church stopped addressing their LGBTQ stance publicly or during their sermons. If they were asked what they would say, God loves everyone. Of course, gay people are welcome at the church. But, the Bible does still say it's not cool to be gay, so...
I don't have any personal bias at all against gay or lesbian people. But unfortunately, as a pastor, you don't represent what you think, you represent what the Bible says. And so at this point, we still are conservative on the subject of active gay relationship, etc. But it's a journey. But everyone's welcome. Many, many people who are gay come to Hillsong Church.
Hillsong gained a lot of notoriety, in part because it really made an effort to cater to celebrity attendees, like Justin Bieber, but also Selena Gomez, Hailey Baldwin, Chris Pratt, the Kardashians, Vanessa Hudgens, and so many more. The church really was able to gain celebrity status of its own by people like Chris Pratt mentioning Hillsong in his interviews, Justin doing interview appearances with Carl by his side. So much so that Hillsong was actively involved in the Trump administration. But in 2020, Lentz was fired from his position at Hillsong and disowned by Justin after it came out that he had had a long-time affair with his nanny. Justin said in an Instagram caption shortly after that happened, "I'm not studying to be a minister or anything even close to that. Have no desire for that. This is fake news. And by the way, Hillsong is not my church. For clarity, I am a part of Church Home." Justin also later said in an interview that, "I think so many pastors put themselves on this pedestal. And it's basically the church can be surrounded around the man, the pastor, the guy. And it's like this guy has this ultimate relationship with God that we all want, but we can't get because we're not this guy." That's not the reality though. The reality is every human being has the same access to God. But to be clear, even though Justin has disavowed Hillsong, Church Home is very much in the same vein as other celebrity megachurches. Lana Del Rey attends there, the Kardashians have also attended. Judah Smith, the leader of Church Home and one of Justin's mentors, was actually the one who introduced Carl to Justin. Ultimately, it is still a megachurch deeply embedded in celebrities and politics. Actually, in 2023, when Justin posted a Praying for Israel story with images of the destruction in Gaza, not Israel, that image he shared was from Church Home originally. And this church is also not free from controversy. Judah Smith allegedly once compared homosexuality to rape and murder. Recently, the church was also sued in 2023 for reportedly forcing their employees to tithe 10% of their wages back to the church. And genuinely, I don't say all of this to demean or belittle Justin's faith. It genuinely does seem like his reconnection to his Christianity helped him get out of some dark places. And uncomplicated, I think that's awesome. I think that's great. When Justin finally began to emerge from his bad years and seek guidance, Smith was still there. Bieber noticed that, in retrospect, Smith had never asked him for anything. "He put our relationship first," Bieber says. And then he started to notice other things too, like the way Smith's family seemed to care for one another. "It was something I always dreamed of because my family was broken," Bieber says. "My whole life I had a broken family. And so I was just attracted to a family that eats dinner together, laughs together, talks together." I also imagine that as a religious celebrity, your options for churches that can accommodate the media frenzy around you and understand that part of your life, your options probably are very limited. And I'm sure when the news broke about Carl losing a mentor that helped him through so much, must have been hard. I just find it sad that his affiliation with Judah Smith and Carl Lentz has lent credibility to megachurches who have caused harm in the name of Christianity, when that, of course, does not represent the Christian faith in its entirety. Yeah, that got very serious, but it wasn't just Justin's Christianity that brought about Justin's comeback into public life. I will give Scooter Braun this. When it comes to introducing Justin's Purpose Era, they pulled off such a sweeping public redemption for him so fast. The first reintroduction of Justin back into the public was with his Comedy Central roast, and after 2 years of Bizzle, People were not about to go easy on Justin.
Justin, you know, I lost my dad on 9/11, and I always regretted growing up without a dad. Until I met your dad, Justin. Now I'm glad mine's dead.
But it turns out if you're willing to let yourself be the butt of the joke, people get over things pretty quickly. Everyone loved being able to see Justin laugh at himself, and even throw out some zingers himself.
What do you get when you give a teenager $200 million? A bunch of has-beens calling you a lesbian for 2 hours.
But that was just the beginning. Justin managed to get every celebrity in 2015 to count down to the release of his first single, What Do You Mean? He got Ariana Grande, Gigi Hadid, even, oh God, not him, please no. And he was not done. Sorry, Where Are You Now? Love Yourself? Love Yourself is peak Ed Sheeran writing. I honestly forget that it's even Justin singing. And Love Yourself gave us, of course, this cover from My Love Halsey. The people who get it, get it. It's actually crazy to think just how quickly Justin was able to make it back on top of the pop music charts, when people originally didn't even think Justin would last as a kid, let alone after all of his Bizzle shenanigans. But it turns out that a hit is a hit, and a bop is a bop. Even then though, the media still had to be just a little weird about Justin Bieber, because around the time Justin was promoting Purpose, paparazzi took nude pictures of Justin, and overnight they were uncensored across the internet. To this day, I still don't understand how that's allowed. That can't be legal, can it? And again, the world still had not learned. No one treated this like an invasion of privacy. They just continued asking him about it in interviews, and joking while Justin was very visibly uncomfortable.
The worst part about what I do is probably just people following me all the time. Like, always, like, with a camera or...
Well, we had a privacy issue recently, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we did.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a name for it?
The fans do. Ooh. They call it Jerry.
Jerry?
Jerry, yeah.
Yeah, you can adapt that, you know?
I could.
I think you got like big in front, like Big Jer. Because it's impressive. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, those pictures or something.
Thank you, dude. I guess. Let's keep going. Let's keep it going.
Then Justin started his Purpose tour, which went on for over a year with more than 150 shows. It became one of the highest grossing tours of the 2010s. But on July 2nd of 2017, Justin announced that he would be canceling the last 14 shows of the tour due to unforeseen circumstances. A month later, he released a statement on Instagram where he said he was grateful for his fans, but he wanted to take this time to work on himself, be a better person, and he wanted his career to be sustainable in the long run. Later in his season documentary, he talked about even though he really didn't want to, he canceled the last few tour dates to deal with a range of health issues he'd been ignoring for a very long time at that point. Specifically, his anxiety and depression had significantly worsened, and he was also diagnosed with mono and chronic Lyme disease. Now, it's my understanding that chronic Lyme disease is not really a recognized condition by most medical professionals, but even if that diagnosis isn't real, Justin's symptoms and experiences absolutely are.
The infections have played a big part in my acne and my overall toxins in my body, which just creates all this stuff. So it feels good now to know why I feel so crappy all the time.
As someone who myself deals with a chronic illness, I know how isolating and frustrating it can feel when you don't have an answer for what's wrong with you, let alone a clear solution for how to fix it. I mean, Justin clearly needed that time to focus on himself and his well-being. During this break, though, Justin got engaged to Hailey Baldwin. Oh, wait, have I skipped all of Justin's on-again, off-again relationship with Selena Gomez and his now wife, Hailey? Yes, I have. Honestly, you want to know why I've put off making this Justin Bieber deep dive? It is absolutely these two relationships. They both could be a separate video on their own, but I will try my best to give the abbreviated take here. Justin and Selena Gomez started dating when they were both very young. And even before they started dating, there was a lot of buzz over whether they would eventually date, to which Selena at the time said, he's 15, I'm 18.
You're a busy girl. You've got a CD out, you've got a clothing line, you're an ambassador, right? And I don't know how you have time to date Justin Bieber.
What?
Oh, brother. He's little. He's like, no, he's like my little brother. I don't, that's weird
You're
to
a cute
me.
couple, I'm just saying.
Thanks.
Which, calling Justin your little brother, then 3 weeks later being spotted making out at an IHOP? Wild leap. It's funny, I think a lot of people forget that a lot of Bleepers also didn't support Justin's relationship with Selena at the time, because why would they support Justin's relationship with anybody? Then he can't be the collective boyfriend. But as far as girlfriend contenders go, Selena was a pretty solid one. So many of Justin's fans also grew up watching Selena on the Disney Channel. She was friends with Taylor Swift. She had her own bubblegum pop career. Obviously, Justin doesn't need fan approval for any relationship, but there was a lot of overlap in their fan bases. Even though their relationship in hindsight gets very romanticized, they were very much on again, off again, and publicly so. I personally can never forget just the month of December 2015, where first Justin starts posting pictures of Selena and Justin on a motorbike with the caption, "Just a throwback, calm down." Then 1 week later, posting a picture of a supermodel with the caption, "Who is this?" Then being seen on a date with Kourtney Kardashian, not to be confused with Kendall, who he also possibly dated around this time, then taking Hailey Baldwin on a family vacation and posting with her. Then 3 months later again, posting a throwback of him and Selena kissing. And while all of this is happening on Justin's Instagram, they're all giving statements like, "I'm done with Justin, I'm done with Selena, Hailey and I aren't exclusive, I don't know what's happening. Are we dating? I'll never tell." And this was not just a 2015 thing. Selena and Justin were spotted out on a date on Valentine's Day, 3 months before Justin proposed to Hailey. And I don't even think people knew that Hailey and Justin were even back together at that point. I get why people are interested in this because the paper trail of these relationships are crazy. These three people are just as chronically online as all of us. And it's not just that they were so back and forth. It's that they were also so public about their back and forth, and it was impossible to keep up. It's honestly just as messy as lots of other relationships I saw in college, except we're not used to like mega celebrities being so upfront about dating casually or being kind of toxic in their own relationships. I mean, it's no secret that these relationships weren't healthy. Selena herself, after they broke up for good, did say that she felt like she was subjected to emotional abuse in that relationship.
It's dangerous to stay in a victim mentality. And I'm not being disrespectful. I do feel I was a victim to certain abuse. And
you mean emotional abuse?
Yes. And I think that it's something that I had to find a way to understand it as an adult.
Justin also said, presumably about Selena and his other relationships, that he made a lot of bad decisions and abused people he cared about. Hailey and Justin both say that Justin did not treat Hailey well in 2016 to the point where they stopped talking for a very long time.
I'd let her know prior to the tour when we were hanging a lot. I said, listen, I'm still really hurt and still trying to figure out my way, and I'm not ready to make a commitment to you in a way that, I just don't want to say something and do the opposite, because I just don't. I was at the point where I'd done that in the past, and I just was like honest with her. It was like, I'm not in a place to, be faithful. Either way, she loved me, and seeing me with other people hurt her. And so with that being said, she went out and did things that hurt me. And so it was just this hurt. I've hurt her, she hurt me. And then before tour, we just really stopped talking. I was really upset.
Before eventually rekindling in 2018. In short, it seemed like Justin's relationships with Hailey and Selena had some very unhealthy moments, which to an extent everyone has. But also, even now, Justin and Hailey continue to be very open about the problems that they had in a way that I think we're, again, really not used to seeing celebrities talk about. Like, very shortly after they got married, they did a cover story together, and they talked about how marriage is the hardest thing they've ever done. Like, they have to fight for each other. The thing is, marriage is very hard, says Hailey. That is the sentence you should lead with. It's really effing hard. It's just that I'm fighting to do this the right way to build a healthy relationship. I want people to know that. We're coming from a really genuine place, but we're two young people who are learning as we go. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it's all a magical fantasy. It's always going to be hard. It's a choice. You don't feel it every single day. You don't wake up every morning saying, I'm absolutely so in love with you, you're perfect. That's not what being married is. But there's something beautiful about it anyway, about wanting to fight for something, commit to building with someone. We're really young, and that's a scary aspect. I mean, we're going to change a lot, but we're committed to growing together and supporting each other in those changes. That's how I look at it. At the end of the day, too, he's my best friend. I never get sick of him. Justin grins. And you're my baby boo. Listen, I know Hailey loves Justin because just before I sat down to film this, Hailey got mad at Billboard for saying that Justin was only the 8th most influential pop star of the 21st century. And listen, Billboard is certainly not the ultimate arbiter of pop influence, but I personally think that Justin is honestly pretty appropriately ranked at number 8. Like, that's still very high. But back to this, people see this interview and they're like, you got married 4 months ago. You're not wrong, marriage is hard at times, but y'all are supposed to be in the honeymoon phase. And the fact that they're admitting that their relationship isn't perfect all the time also gives more people things to speculate on. I won't pretend I'm above it. I get the intrigue with their relationship, with his relationship with Selena. Like, why did he dress like he crawled out of my laundry basket 2 weeks after I should have done the laundry for one of Hailey's makeup events? We may never know. But honestly, the intrigue around these 3 people barely even involves Justin. It is much more focused on the real or imagined beef between Hailey and Selena, which ultimately leads to people comparing their looks, yelling Selena's name at Hailey's public appearances until Hailey cries, commenting Justin's name on Selena's Instagram, because what is the internet if we can't pit 2 women against each other, truly? But y'all, Hailey and Justin are married now. Selena is also in a happy relationship. Skipping ahead to 2024, Justin and Hailey have a child together. Publicly bothering any of them about Justin's relationship from years ago is, as Sonic would say, no good. I remember I saw an anniversary post Justin made for Hailey, and someone in the reply said, Selena would have looked great in that green bikini. I'd rather see you next to her. Like, please step off. That is weird, and we should not be normalizing this behavior. I realize I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but I had to say it. I just imagine if I had a community of people who wished I was still with my first serious significant other, I would think that those people don't like me very much. But like I said, that's like the tip of the iceberg. Hailey and Selena might be a discussion for another day. Anyways, now that I'm off my soapbox, in 2020, Justin made his comeback to music after almost 5 years for his Changes era with his first new single, Yummy. You know, if you look at the course of his life as if it were a narrative, you would expect this song to be an unexpected hit. People were too hard on Justin's pop career when he was a kid for no real reason, which in part led to his wild grown-up child star era. He's had some health issues, some relationship issues, but he's much better now. He's married, he's in therapy. He's just in a much better place, and the world for the most part has gotten over their violent hatred of this Canadian boy. But Yummy, it does not have that yummy yum, that yummy yum. Yummy as a word, I realize, has the same energy as calling a pregnant woman preggers. Something about it sends chills down my spine. I'm sure a lot of y'all remember that even though not that many people liked this song when it came out, we could not escape it. Justin was non-stop with this song rollout. Music videos, multiple lyric videos, reaction videos, collabs with David Dobrik and Lele Pons, except he won't even look Lele Pons in the eye.
What's going on?
Hey, I loved your song, Yummy. I swear. And I'm not the only one that likes it. I promise.
So many remixes of this song, including my personal favorite, the Yummy Country remix, where it's the same song, but he just sings in a bad southern accent.
Every time I come around, you get her done. At horseback, watch the sunset, kinda. Yeah.
No, because that's actually camp. I'm with him on that one. We should do more of that. The attempt at Billboard chart manipulation was so shameless. He shared a fan-made infographic, how to get Yummy to #1. Create a playlist with Yummy on repeat and stream it. Don't mute it. Play it at a low volume. Let it play while you sleep. Can you imagine the dreams believers had with this song just looping while they were in REM? If you are not from the US, you can download a VNP app. All that work just for the song to lose the #1 spot to The Box by Roddy Ricch. Honestly though, outside of the infographic, This song's promo feels pretty standard nowadays, unfortunately, for a lot of mainstream pop artists. How many COVID variants has Taylor released of Tortured Poets at this point? Sabrina has a whole EP of espresso remixes, and somehow none of them hold a candle to the Cupcake remix. And it's definitely not just those two. Everyone releases version after version, remix after remix, because that's what it takes to get #1s with the current Billboard system. The Billboard charts aren't necessarily a reflection of how popular the music is, it's also a reflection of how well different artists can mobilize their fan bases to get those #1s. And personally, I can't believe the country remix wasn't enough to send the Beliebers right to the top.
Yeah, you got that yummy, yum.
Even though Yummy and Changes ended up being, I think, pretty forgettable, between Seasons, his YouTube docuseries, and the interviews he gave at this time, the public did get a lot more insight into how Justin's early pop career had affected his physical and mental health.
You came face to face with Billie Eilish, who in her own way, albeit in a different era, dealing with this very, very public explosion of success and of attention.
That too.
Did you feel protective of her?
Yeah, I definitely feel protective of her. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, she can count on me. I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
And of course, even though he was ready to go back on tour, the pandemic happened. And that did not mean that this was a quiet time for Justin. I'm actually convinced Justin Bieber may have been the most productive person out of any of us in 2020. He came back with a second documentary where he seemed to be doing really well. He was excited for new music. He collabed with Ariana Grande, Chance the Rapper, Kid Laroi. He made a gospel EP and a second album, Justice, which I wish I liked it more than I do. Peaches is definitely better than Yummy, but to be honest, I think that might be Daniel Caesar and Giveon doing a lot of the legwork there. I cannot believe that I forgot to mention while I was recording this that Ghost is one of my favorite Justin songs ever. I still very much have an appreciation for some of Justin's new work. Justin did eventually tour both Changes and Justice in 2022, but he canceled the tour a few months in when he was diagnosed with Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. Ramsay-Hunt syndrome is a complication from shingles, and it's not clear exactly what causes it, but intense stress, like stress from touring, can definitely be a trigger. Also, if Ramsay-Hunt isn't treated, it can cause permanent hearing loss and facial paralysis. And depending on the severity, recovery can take weeks to months. So even though Justin has still done a couple collabs since then, we're back to a relatively quiet time for Justin. In January of 2023, he sold his back catalog for over $200 million. And just this August, Hailey gave birth to their son. And I really do hope that he's happy, that he's enjoying fatherhood, and that if he does come back to music, it's on his own terms and when he's healthy. Also, since we're nearing the end of the video, I'm sure I've already gotten a ton of comments about Sean Combs and his connection to Justin Bieber. Sean Combs, or P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Diddy. He's had a lot of stage names over the years, none that are really relevant here, but for several years now, he has been accused by multiple people of sexual harassment, abuse, and assault. He was caught on hotel surveillance physically assaulting his girlfriend at the time, which unfortunately seems like just a fraction of the awful things this man has done over the years. Because of his recent indictments, as well as the report by the Washington Post that says that more than 100 other lawsuits could be coming down the pipeline, including from minors Sean Combs allegedly harmed, Justin's relationship with Combs has come back into the spotlight. Combs was a mentor of Usher, Justin's mentor, and people have found old videos of Justin and Combs hanging out when Justin was very young. There was this one video called 48 Hours with Diddy, and I don't think people realize that that title is not literal. This is a reference to a movie title. There was also a leaked song from Justin going around in October, which included the lyrics, "Lost myself at a Diddy party." But this song is AI. It is not actually Justin. But by the time people actually looked into that, there were already tons of articles tying Justin and Diddy together across every major news source. And I just want to say, I absolutely believe that Combs is the horrible person his victims have described. And it breaks my heart to think that a young kid like Justin was at the time met him even once. But I do not think that speculating about some of the worst possible crimes that someone can endure, whether Justin experienced those things, is helpful at all. Justin has not said anything about any of this. This could be because he has nothing to say. It could be because he's a new father and he wants to focus on that. Or it could be because he does not want this to be a topic of discussion. There are, however, multiple people who have come forward publicly with their experiences, and those people absolutely deserve support. I mean, this obviously doesn't apply to every piece of coverage or comment on the Combs situation, but sometimes it does feel like the speculative stuff, the conspiracy stuff, is coming from wanting a cheap thrill out of someone else's potential misery instead of actual empathy and advocacy for victims. And that rings especially true when it comes to the Justin Bieber speculation, because as far as I'm aware, when I'm recording this, that is all it is, speculation. I also just think that we can and should have empathy for how Justin grew up without having to imagine him experiencing those horrible things. He was a kid when he became one of the most famous and divisive people in the world. He was expected to be an entire generation of girls' fantasy. He was hated, again, often by fully adult men. He was sexualized at a young age, all while working on a grueling promotion cycle that very few adults could even handle. Justin was also very much the guinea pig for pop stars growing up in the social media age, where his life was way more public and way more intertwined with his fandom than any other celebrity before him. Even though I don't think Justin has always done the right thing or been a perfect person publicly, I think it would be incredibly hard to be well-adjusted and okay growing up under those circumstances. Obviously, there are greater injustices in the world than becoming famous at a young age, but I get why Justin has taken this time off to focus on himself, his marriage, his kid, and I honestly just hope that the next time there is a teenage heartthrob for the next generation of girls to obsess over, that we're kinder to them. And at least now we know that they won't have to be jump scared by Ellen DeGeneres. So that is finally my video on Justin Bieber. I hope all of y'all liked it, found it interesting. As usual, if you want to see more from me, I upload a monthly bonus video over on Patreon for the people who support me on there, and I really appreciate all the support I do get on there. I also stream on Twitch every once in a while, and I upload the VODs of that to my second channel. And if you're not interested in any of that, that's cool. However, if you liked this video, you could feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.
Saw so many pretty faces before I saw you. Now, I'm coming for you, I'm coming for you. No, don't need these other pretty faces. I need you. And when you're mine in the world, there's gonna be one less lonely goose. One less lonely goose. One less lonely goose. One less lonely goose. Gonna be one less lonely goose. Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen. Oh, should we do the bridge? I can fix up your broken heart. I can give you a brand new start. I can make you believe, yeah. I just, how does that go? Just wanna set one girl free to fall, free to fall. Her heart's locked, I know what, I got the key. I'll take her and leave the world with one less lonely girl. There's gonna be one less lonely girl. One less lonely goose. One less lonely goose. Wow, I didn't remember as many of the words as I thought.